Hello, my name is Sam Madicott, and on behalf of the BCCJ, I would like to welcome you to today's masterclass, Teams by Design, with the one and only Sarah Furuya of Sarah Furuya Coaching. Sarah will be a familiar face to many tuning in today, as well as running various personal and executive coaching programs. Sarah also runs the Legends podcast, definitely worth checking out, a Tokyo-based clothes swap, and recently won the Best Dressed Award at the BBA 2020. Today, Sarah will be teaching us all a thing or two about the science behind identifying and building meaningful relationships to succeed in your personal and professional life. I don't know about many of you, but I certainly feel like this is an area I'm winging most of the time. So very excited to learn about the process of how to actually identify and create great connections. This is an interactive session, and therefore we encourage you to submit your questions via the chat function at the bottom of your Zoom screen. So without further ado, I'd like to pass the digital mic over to you, Sarah.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see you, and thank you very much for showing up today. And hello to everyone who's on the live stream as well. So today I'm going to have you thinking about how you can really design your teams and design your relationships. Very often when we're in our families or we're in our organizations or our corporations or our businesses, we're thinking about strategy, we're thinking about our goals, but we very, very rarely take the time to really design the relationships that we want to have within those organizations. So today I'm going to introduce a really practical tool that you can use to do this. And we have 45 minutes. It's going to be a very full 45 minutes. I want to boost through the inputs and then get to the tool. We will be doing some practical stuff today as well. So I'd like to invite Sarah Backley. If you could start to share my presentation, that would be awesome. Thank you. So we'll start off with the flow. So what we're going to do is we're just going to align quickly. In systems coaching, it's really important that we design our alliance together. I'm doing this only from my side today for time's sake. So then we're going to talk, I'm going to do a little input about relationship systems coaching. This is content from CRR Global. Then Teams by Design, the Constellation activity. We're actually going to do some drawing ourselves today. So if you could grab a pencil or a pen and a piece of paper, that would be fantastic. We're going to do a pair work activity. So we're going to go out into breakout rooms. Then we'll come back to the group. Then we will do the next step of the constellation, then breakout rooms again, and then some time for Q&A or comments at the end. If you have any clarifying questions throughout the first part, please do ask. I'm going to boost through this content the very best I can. Okay, so let's design our alliance. So usually we would decide what our atmosphere was going to be, what kind of culture we want to create around ourselves in our teams. But today I'm just going to make the invitation to you. So I invite you to have curiosity, to take this as an opportunity, to take every opportunity from this. Confidentiality, I think, is important in a situation like this, as you'll be in breakout rooms and presenting your constellations to one another. Have a beginner's mind, just open up your mind, trust the process. I'm going to give you a very, very straightforward instructional process for the constellation. When you are in your breakout rooms, be generous with the input that you give in the 5 minutes. Have boundaries. You don't need to share everything. And if you happen to be in a breakout room with somebody in your team, then please have boundaries about that. You also don't need to show your constellations. You can just talk through them and just give it a try. Just try everything that I offer. So let's say what happens in the Zoom stays in the Zoom in the breakout rooms. Okay, so what is a relationship system? It's a group of interdependent entities with a common focus or identity. So that's us on this call today, or that's your team, that's your organization, that's your family, it's your marriage. Other words or examples of relationship systems are group, team, family, relationship, collective, band, and so on. But I will be using the word relationship system a lot today. That's my preferred terminology. Okay. So we're always trying to move in relationship systems towards right relationship. This is the core value of relationship systems coaching, is that we move towards right relationship. And this means moving from me to we. So oftentimes when I'm coaching one-to-one, we're coaching one-to-one and it's about people's inner world and we're talking about them. But as soon as they start talking about other people in their systems, their relationships, their teams, their organizations, I immediately start coaching for the system and introduce this kind of relationship systems coaching content. We move from me to we. So one of the basic backbone tenets of relationship systems coaching is everyone is right, only partially. I love this so much because it helps us to be in right relationship. We're not always looking for right or wrong, good or bad, 100% this, black and white. What we're looking for is to look at the 2% truth in what anybody says, examine where people are right just partially, and understand that we're right some of the time and only partially. Okay, so we deal in relationship systems with 3 types of intelligence. I'm sure everybody here has heard of emotional intelligence. If you have, you can do your little digital raising a hand or thumbs up or whatever. So that's called EQ, emotional intelligence. That's awareness of self. We can get these from psychometric tests like MBTI or Luminous Spark or something like that, or from 360 reviews. We get more awareness of ourselves. Then we also have social intelligence, which is awareness of others. So that's that kind of move from me to we. I understand me, I understand you. I'm all right, you're all right. And then this, unique to relationship systems coaching, the relationship systems intelligence. And this is the intelligence that a group of people or a collective of people has together. And this can be revealed. So let me give you an example. In a marriage, you would have like a woman and a woman, or a man and a man, or a man and a woman. And they together, there's one person, there's the other person. And then their marriage has a life of its own. I'm sure you've said to people, oh, they've got a good marriage, or, oh, their marriage is falling apart. You don't say, Tanaka-san and Smith-san are falling apart. Their marriage, it has a life of its own, or their marriage is going really well. This is a great example of relationship systems intelligence. And that relationship itself, we sometimes call it the third entity. It has information for us that will be revealed by the system. So there's me, there's you, and then there's this relationship systems intelligence. And this tool that I'm going to deliver to you today helps us to understand the relationship systems intelligence that will be revealed by the system. All right, so let's move on to the key principles of a healthy system. It's organized around the support, regulation, nurturance, and well-being of its members. The system is self-perpetuating and it has a wisdom of its own. That's that relationship systems intelligence that we are going to look to reveal today. The system finds structural and other ways to transform, and it will continue to produce at least one possibility for further change. The relationship systems coach joins the system not to repair it, but rather to reveal its nature to the members. So I'm always asking what's waiting to occur, what's waiting to happen, what's waiting to emerge, and allow them to take responsibility and support the system's innate tendency to self-regulate. And because of the self-regulating nature of systems, a change in one area of the system will induce a change in the rest of the system. So if a CEO moves out of an organization, the organization's culture changes and shifts. You will probably remember when somebody left your team, that when they leave your team, that leaves the whole thing, the whole system has to arrange around that. If somebody decides to start drawing boundaries, if somebody starts drawing boundaries in their relationships, or decides that they're going to draw boundaries in their marriage or their love relationships, then the whole system itself has to adjust to meet the needs of that change. Okay. And every voice is the voice of the system. And that does not mean that every voice gets their way. What it means is that every voice speaks for the system. So when I'm working with a group of people and we're doing systems coaching and things start coming out into the emotional field and start coming out into the system and it starts revealing itself, each of those voices gets listened to, but it doesn't essentially mean that all those voices will be followed, or that will be the thing that the team or the organization chooses to take action on or create a goal around or create strategy around. But it will reveal the nature of the system to the system. All right. I just mentioned the word emotional field. What is the emotional field? Every system has an emotional field. Can you feel it right now? What can you feel in the emotional field between us here? I'm just looking at Sam, and you know, Sarah and I had a conversation before, and there was a really like lightness to the emotional field. There was an excitement, there was some humor in the emotional field, there was friendliness, there was trust, there was reliability, there was all these, and there was problem solving. There was lots of things in our emotional field. So what I invite is when you go into your breakout rooms is be deliberate about what you bring into your emotional field there. You can put in positivity or you can put in something else. It's up to you. I'll tell you who was great at creating tension in their emotional field. Bill Gates. I used to work at Microsoft years ago. And when he used to do his keynote speeches, especially to developers, he would put lots and lots of encouragement into the emotional field. We are the best developers, 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 developers. We're the best. But the next big thing is around the corner. So you better work really hard to make sure that we have the most cutting edge technology, et cetera, et cetera. So he created this kind of pride around being the best developers, and also this tension that made them, you know, want to really work and keep developing the best tools. All right, so let's move on. Okay, so we're going to move into our tool now. And this is called a constellation. Usually we use a constellation about the night sky and the stars. And that's kind of what we're going to do today. So a constellation offers a visual representation of the current state of the systems we are in, and work with our EQ. So understanding where we are ourselves in relation to our system. It also allows us to work with the members of the system, even when they are not there, and access that social intelligence as well. Some of you may have heard of family constellations. This is what this particular tool has been evolved from. It creates the environment to work with and allow the relationship systems intelligence, the RSI, to be revealed from the system. And we're just going to do this on our own. We're going to choose a relationship system or your team. This is teams by design, so perhaps your team or your business. And reveal to us what's going on in your system without words, without speaking. Okay, let's move on. So we're into our how-to now, and I'm absolutely amazed that I got that done in 15 minutes. So let's get into it. So you see what I did there? I just threw some humor into the emotional field. All right, so what to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a large circle on the page. I'm going to take you through these instructions first, and then I'm actually going to show you analog how to do it. Okay, we're going to draw a large circle on the page. So if you go ahead and do that now, and this is the container for or represents your system. Okay, when we're choosing what we work with, I would choose something. Often we say like, choose something, a system or a relationship system or a team which has got something of a hotspot in it. A hotspot not meaning the discotheque, but hotspot meaning there's a bit of heat in there. There's something a bit like that. Some people choose like family Christmas. Some people choose their parent coming to stay. Some people will literally choose their team. Some people will choose for example, if I'm planning a workshop or something like that, I might do a constellation to dream up that workshop and that system in a really rich and positive way. You can do it on your marriage, you can do it with your family, all the push and pull of the things that are inherent in teams. I would suggest you do teams on this occasion, but it's entirely up to you. I think I'm going to do it on my business today. Populate the system. Circles are women, triangles are men, stars are non-binary, and squares equals events. So events could be a big launch that's coming up. It could be a merger and acquisition. It could be a restructure. It could be a promotion that's coming up. It could be that somebody's about to leave. An event could also be, I remember somebody did one with Christmas at the center of their constellation, and all the tension and conflict that was around that. And eventually she drew a hotel outside her system and all her family went into it. That was how she improved it. Okay, we're going to plot about 5 to 10 people in the system, including you. But first, don't start drawing just yet. First, who would you plot at the center of the system? So you must be in here as well. And then put the rest of the people in the system around you, close to the center or further away. Okay, so actually, Sarah, I'm going to ask you to cut that now and put me on camera, please. Thank you. Hi, am I highlighted there or am I tiny?
You should be highlighted as long as everyone has you on speaker view. So if you don't, make sure it is on speaker view.
Okay, great. All right, so it's going to look like this. Okay, so we've got like triangles, circles, stars, and events. So for example, what I'm about to do is I'm going to be thinking about my business for the rest of the year. So I'm going to actually plot, like an event, my business at the center of this. So that's what I'm going to plot at the center. Okay, SFC. So you can choose whatever it is. Some people choose to put themselves there. The first time I ever did it, I did it about my family and I put my mum at the center. So it's up to you. Then we're going to populate the other people around here. So obviously I'm very closely connected to SFC. So I'll put myself there in a little circle. My husband also is part of so he's going to go there. My assistant COO, Madame of all the things, Laura, she goes very close to me as well. She's very close to the business and she's very close to me. Okay, like this. Then I have my clients. So let's put them over here I'll put those in a square as well, or a heart, because I love them. Then I have, the secret projects that I want to do later in the year. So that's a little bit further away. Oh, money. So we're going to start to populate our thing like this as well. So I'm just going to give you, and then once you've plotted the center, the whatever you want at the center. So again, it could be you, could be your husband, could be your boss, could be your organization, could be a big project that's launching, whatever. And you've started to populate the rest of this system with the other things that are at play and influencing your system. I would say 7 to 10 things maximum in there. You're going to connect them. Okay, so a double line for a very strong connection. Okay, a single line for just a regular connection. A dotted line for a tenuous connection. And then if there's conflict present, now this doesn't mean you're having an argument with that person or that thing. It just means if there's some conflict present, you're going to put a double line through. In that way, in Japan, that we do in Japan, if you've made a mistake. Okay. So let me show you what I mean here. This is not actually the case, but I'm just going to do this for argument's sake. So with my clients, I'll have a very nice, strong single line going through with no conflict. That's because I love my clients, but a double line might be too much. It's good for me to keep that professional and emotional distance. The secret project, there's a double line going between that and that at the moment. No, there's no conflict. I just feel excited. Between me and the SFC, very strong. Between me and my husband, strong. Between me and Laura, strong. Luckily, no conflict there. And between Keisuke and Laura, I'll put a single line because they're working on my taxes together at the moment. Okay, now, between me and my money, Now I really have big money goals, so I'm going to put a double line, but I also feel frightened of that. What happens if I don't reach my goals? Oh God, you know, all those money stories that come up. So I'm going to put some conflict through there. Okay. So it's going to start looking like this then. I'll put, oh, clients, they also need to connect to Laura. They have a really good bond there. The secret project, oh, I might connect that to my clients as well, because I want them to get involved too. Right, so this, do you get the idea? I'm going to give, let's say 4 minutes on the clock. It does say 5 minutes, but I'm going to go 4 and let you just get into your constellation quietly, have a sip of tea or some water, and just draw your constellation as it is right now. 4 minutes, okay, guys? Grand. So what I'm going to invite you to do now is we're going to go into breakout rooms. I'm going to give you 3 questions. Just answer the questions and look at your constellation. That's all you need to do. What we're doing here is we're drawing that relationship systems intelligence out. Okay, so don't describe, just answer the questions. And Sarah's going to show us the questions now. Great. So the first question is, does it look complete? Second question is, what are you learning? And the last question is, what needs to change? Now, looking at the clock, I'm going to say 4 minutes per person, 10 minutes total. Okay, 4 minutes per person, 10 minutes total. Sorry, 8 minutes total. Goodness me. 4 minutes per person, 8 minutes total. That's it. Does it look complete? What are you learning? What needs to change? So please, can you self-manage inside the rooms that you get 4 minutes each? Okay, Sam, break out. Welcome back, everybody. Hope we're all back. All right. So we're going to sprint to the end now. Now, I was just saying to Sarah and Sam there that the reason we do this, part of systems coaching, is we look at signals and we use different channels. Usually we're using the verbal channel and the cognitive channel, but this gets us out of our heads and into our bodies. So we're actually using a different channel here where we go quiet and we use the kinesthetic channel. And that reveals even more from the places where we're not thinking about it too much. All right then. So Sam, Sarah, I've decided not to do another breakout room. We'll just do it in this room instead. It's more efficient for time. So the last question you had there was, what needs to change? And so hopefully you got to that question. If not, I would like you to think about it now. And what we get to do now is reimagine our system. And Sarah, if you could just pull up the redraw slide. Thank you. So now on the back of the what needs to change question, we get to redraw. It says 3 minutes there. Let's say 2 minutes. Redraw your system exactly as you would like it to be. This is not a realistic redraw. This is dreaming up the ideal system you possibly could. This is your chance to what we call high dream your relationship system as your ideal. If the word dream doesn't work for you, use high vision, or yeah, high vision would be a really good way to put it. So to visualize the highest possible outcome, the most optimistic outcome. So I'll just put 2 minutes on the clock and allow you to get back. I would take an entirely new different piece of paper, so otherwise it's going to look like a crazy, crazy thing, a Jackson Pollock. So yeah, I'll put 2 minutes on and you can redraw and reimagine it. Absolutely ideal. Okay, I'm doing the same. So Sarah, if you could just move us on to the next slide. So we're not going to do this in pairs. I'm just going to get us to do this as the full group now, which is what was revealed and what did you learn about your relationship system? So this is like an omiyage takeaway question. But right now, I would like you to write down what is one tiny action step or big heroic action step, but one action step that you can take, a really practical, manageable action step that can take you forward in the consensus reality now. So we've been accessing 3 different types of realities here, the kind of what we call the essence level, where the ideas come from, those pings, the light bulbs. We've also been accessing the dreaming level, which is more like the psychology, where we start thinking about things, and then the consensus reality level, which is now where we're making a concrete action that we need to take in the real world. So one concrete action that we need to take in the real world now. And then it would be lovely, Sarah, if you can just move on one more. That's it. What is one action that you can take once you get off the call to move towards this right relationship, to move your system towards right relationship, to move towards your second idealized version? And as we have a few minutes on left, I would love to hear if anybody wants to share their final action or something that came out of that for them, or if you have any questions about the 3-day workshop that I just compressed into 10 slides, then I would be very happy. You can either raise your hand or drop it into the comments. That's fine. Or Sam, would you, anyway, fine for you? You can unmute yourself and ask a question. That's fine too. And then Sarah, if you could just move on to the final slide. Actually, just close that down so that I can see everybody. See if anybody wants to. So if anybody wants to just share an action or something that came out of that for them, or something that they learned, or if you have a question about any of the content, I would be so happy to take that. Thank you. I realized, thanks Jennifer, I realized I was too close on too many items and that was causing conflict. My action is to ask for volunteer leaders for 2 projects. Superb. And I can hold you accountable to that as well. So shoot me a little email when you've done that, or post, or a message. Anybody else want to share back something, or have you got any questions about the content or about systems coaching?
Yeah, I'm like, it's faster to speak than to write it. So I have way too much on my system. And like Jen, too many things too close to me.
Yeah.
And I realized the one thing that is the most crucial is my health and well-being. And my focus, that needs to be my focus, because if I'm not healthy, not getting enough sleep, enough exercise, eating well, I'm useless.
Great. Do you have any clients after this, Christine?
I do. I have like 4 or 5 lessons tonight. So
well hydrated, super comfortable, and that you can look after yourself in this time and then turn off the best you can afterwards. Thanks, Christine. Jane says, we need a clearer structure. I knew that, but could see how better now. Oh, we should have a conversation about that. Amazing. Rachel says, thank you. I realized I want there to be more people in my system and more connected. All right. So great. Well, showing up for this tonight actually is one step towards that. So bravo.
I have more of a question around generally building and maintaining relationships, given that we're in a COVID world at the moment.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to kind of connect that again with my diagram, that a lot of the ways that I typically build a relationship can't really happen. And I think a few people would be struggling with that as well.
Yeah.
How do you do that? And do you have any advice?
I do have advice, and this is a really brilliant point actually. And I think that this is an ongoing this whole system, this whole COVID system is unfolding in front of us. It's unfolding every day, and we observe as it reveals itself more and more and more. So what I would say is, I think that at some point, maybe about 6 months ago, everybody was like, oh my God, we're so tired of Zoom this, Zoom that, Zoom the other. And what I realized today and was talking to one of my clients about today is Zoom is just or Zoom or fill in the blank, this kind of environment, conferencing system is just a tool for connection. That's all. It's just a tool for communication. So separate out each of them. So a lot of people have been reluctant to have like Zoom parties or get together on Zoom or do this kind of stuff because they tell themselves the story, we have Zoom fatigue. Yes, and I would really super separate out these things. So for example, at the weekend, I ran a 3-hour, ended up being 4.5 hour closet clean out with my clients, right? So, but it was so much fun. We just kept Zoom on the whole time. We were chatting away and it didn't feel heavy. We were in and out of our closets, emptying them, saying, should I keep this, shouldn't I? And it was really good fun. And I felt so energized afterwards. I felt like I'd been in the room with them. Secondly, and then another one was, I had a Bonenkai, and we've all done this, like the British Business Awards was so much fun. Like it was only an hour and a half, but it was really good fun. And I felt really connected to people. And so I would look out for opportunities to connect the best you can using the digital medium while we're under state of emergency and while we're all being super careful, and until the spring comes and the natural flu season subsides a little bit. That's my best, that's my current, today's constellation of me in the system with COVID. That's what I would say is I think we need to realign our relationship to Zoom. And in that respect, you can join Toastmasters if you want to. You can join these British Business Awards, like British Chamber of Commerce things. Lots of people are doing socials. So if you really want to have a social with somebody, you can get in touch with somewhere like Apero, and they will do like a delivery, like bottle of wine and little, obento full of delicious foods. And then you can have like a little party with your friends. For women, this is something that I'm familiar with, for Empowering Women in Japan. Great organization to get involved with if you want to make more connection with other women. But I'm sure that there are a lot of other organizations that are more inclusive than that have like, have ways to connect and communicate with people. So that's what I would say is I think we just need to rest and recharge. Like my husband's going to take me on a walk after this because I haven't left the house in days. And get out to nature the best we can and so on. But I think we just need to be really, 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 really honest with ourselves that human connection, we can have it. We can have fun on Zoom calls. We can get together with our mates and have a glass of wine, or if you don't drink, then, do something else and just have a good laugh. And at my Bonenkai, and knowing that it would just be really like, bit like it would be difficult to kind of start conversations. I had this little card game which has questions on it, and we turned over the questions and then somebody would answer it and then bat it on to somebody else. And so, find ways to have those connections and try. And from the coaching perspective, it's like tell a better story about the mediums that are available to us and put those in your constellation. So you might put Zoom or whatever, or Teams or whatever it is that you use, or WhatsApp in here. And then if you find you're having a conflicting relationship with it and it's annoying you and you hate being on Zoom calls, redraw your constellation with a really nice non-conflict filled relationship with those, and then plan for what that looks like. That's what this kind of tool is all about, is creating the right relationship, even with Zoom, even in these kinds of even in these kinds of environments. Could be different tomorrow, the answer, because as we say, this COVID thing is revealing itself day by day. But that's what I would do. So my personal approach, which I'm sure few people are interested in, but since we're here, is I want to be in right relationship with the situation of COVID. I want to be in right relationship with my decision makers, the Japanese government, the medical staff here in Japan. I want to be in right relationship with my neighborhood and the people around me. So if I have a temperature spike, I'm not going out, something like that. So I want to be in right relationship with everything around me. That's my approach from this right relationship and systems coaching perspective. And I find it very relaxing, actually. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it kind of does. I think, this term Zoom fatigue, it's almost become like an excuse when it doesn't always have to be. It's just like, oh God, Zoom again. It's depending on how you kind of look into it.
Yeah, look, watch your hashtags and watch your stereotypes and watch what's kind of trending. If it's trending, then really, okay, good. Create and design your right relationship to things. That's what I would say. Throw it into a constellation. Once you get the hang of it, you can do one in 1 minute on the back of a matchbox. Matchbox, who even uses a matchbox anymore? What planet am I on? On the back of a serviette, or in your notebook, or using the drawing function on your phone, for example. Yeah. Catherine Wortley says, thanks, Sarah. I realise my boxes events are too far away and that will be small. Regular steps, not leaps, and collaboration that will get me closer to them. Beautiful. And Jennifer says, I'd add that I've now got corporate clients where I have never met the client in the flesh. Virtual coffees, LinkedIn outreach to connect to new people and be curious. Brilliant. There's another great way to use these fabulous tools that we have available to us. Okay.
Fantastic. Sarah, I think that's all we've got time for today.
Let's wrap it up.
But I think as everyone's constellations are constantly evolving, if you do see it impacting your day-to-day life, I'm sure Sarah will be really interested to hear from you how that's going from you. So please do check out her website, send her a message, and yeah, see some of the many things which is occupying Sarah Furuya's day-to-day life. So once again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining today's mini masterclass, and Sarah for your fantastic presentation and answering our questions and leading it today. And from the BCCJ, a big thank you very much and have a great evening.
Thank you.